All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we want to welcome you to our broadcast here at Focus on Liberia. Good evening for those of you here in the United States. Good evening and good evening, wherever you are. This is Focus on Liberia, of course, and this is the hour of politics. Welcome, welcome, and welcome to our broadcast. Thanks so much for joining me here at the Hour of Politics. As you all know, I'm Anthony Sie, your host. Today is part 2 of Samuel Tweah is Dead Wrong. And I want you to stay with me as I try to go into this debate with Mr. Tweah. I did send Mr. Tweah an open invitation. It seems to be Mr. Tweah declined because I did not hear from him. But it is not about Mr. Tweah, it is about our country. And I'm glad that you are here. And I'm also glad that you are willing to hit that share button quickly so that others can be able to benefit from the conversation. And we will waste no time and go into the topic. Our today's topic is why Samuel Tweah is dead wrong. And the second segment in this particular part 2 of why Samuel Tweah is dead wrong, we will be looking at Tweahconomics, the economics of Samuel Tweah, called Tweahconomics. And I will be providing for you why Tweahconomics is bad for Liberia. Folks, I'm Anthony Sie, your host. This is the Hour of Politics. And stay with me as we go into our topic. We can get started by reminding you that Mr. Samuel Tweah is the finance minister of the Republic of Liberia. We can get started without telling you that since the government took over, Mr. Tweah has been the chief economist of the country, and he is the one the president entrusted with the task of trying to revive our economy so that Liberians can be able to get a sort of relief economically. But as you all are aware, things have been on the downward spiral from the time this administration came to office. And so we will be looking at why Samuel Tweah is wrong on all of his economic policies that he has been able to put forth, why those economic policies have not been able to work for Liberia, and that Samuel Tweah has been wrong, very, very wrong. In fact, I classify that as dead wrong on the issues. But before we get started, I have something for you, for us to start with. We have to get to know who actually Samuel Tweah is, your finance minister, how he started this huge responsibility that was given to him by President Weah. So let's get started here quickly and stay with me. I'm rolling a clip that will show to you whether or not Mr. Samuel Tweah started on a very serious note, whether he took the responsibility of a finance minister seriously, whether he understood the gravity of the responsibility that he had assumed from the get-go. Listen to this clip.
Mensa, ah, we like our fire. Mensa, ah, we like our fire. Mensa, ah, we like our fire. We are the master, we can't get tired. We are the master, we can't get tired. We are the masses, 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 we can't get tired.
Come on, come on.
You are wasting your time. You are wasting your time.
We're behind, Lord.
We're behind. You are wasting your time.
We're behind.
We're behind. You are wasting your time.
You don't have the money.
You don't have the money to defeat us. You don't have the money to defeat us. You don't have the money to defeat us. You are wasting your time.
You don't have the money.
You don't have the money to defeat us. You don't have the money to defeat us. You don't have the money to defeat us. You are wasting your time.
You don't have the Tweah.
You don't have the Tweah to defeat us. You don't have the Tweah to defeat us. You don't have the Tweah to defeat us. You are wasting your time.
You waste the money.
You waste the money. You waste the money. Oh, you waste it. You waste it. You waste the money.
You waste the money.
You waste the money. You waste the money. Oh.
So, folks, there you have it. There you have it, folks. I am just wondering what you may be thinking now. Did that video clip show to you that Mr. Samuel Tweah, from the get-go, he had the slightest understanding of the responsibilities that he had assumed as a finance minister? Tell me what you think. So that was our finance minister, along with our president and our minister for presidential affairs, the three more powerful individuals in our government upon taking office. They're on the soccer pitch, singing, dancing. The Samuel Tweah understand at the time that our economy was on a time bomb. Did he? I know somebody listening to me might say, is this guy, why is he picking boom with Mr. Tweah here? Mr. Tweah, needs to have fun. He's a human being. He needs to get out a little bit and release his stress. I know somebody would be telling me that. Well, let me tell you something. When Barack Obama took over, it was tough. His cabinet were having sleepless nights because they took over an economy that was in a free fall. America was facing the greatest economic meltdown since the Great Depression. So all the leaders' hands were on deck, especially for the Treasury Secretary. He could not sleep. During that period, at some point, whenever he was seen in a meeting, he was falling asleep because he was having sleepless nights, thinking about how to revive the U.S. economy at a time. And because of that level of seriousness, the level of understanding he brought to his responsibility, the U.S. economy in no time, within the space of 2 years, started turning around. But I come to our country, Liberia. If only Samuel Tweah understood the gravity of the responsibilities or responsibility of a finance minister that he took, I don't think he was be playing football. But again, let's go to the song, folks. Let me make this thing a little more analytical here. Let's go to the wordings in the song. They were singing and dancing. All right. They said we can't make it. So if only Samuel Tweah understood the meaning of that song, and they said we can't make it. So who are those, or who were those who told them that they can't make it? I think it will be people who are critics or have been critics of the CDC. That, oh, they won't make it. And then they came to power. If only he understood that, and they say we can't make it, he will be finding ways how to revive the economy. But he was saying on the soccer page, dancing, and they say we can't make it. Just by dancing, and they say we can't make it, will not solve any problem. If only Mr. Tweah understood those words, and they say we can't make it, he will be having sleepless nights, coming up with plans, trying to reach out to people to get help, coming out with policies that will be able to turn the economy around, to put it on an upward spiral. Only if Mr. Tweah understood the meaning of those words, and they say we can't make it. So let's go to the words again. Those who they were referring to that said, and they say we can't make it, is Samuel Tweah not proving those people wrong? I mean, it's not he's not proving those people right at this time. I think you might agree with me that Mr. Tweah is proving those individuals who told him or them that they can't make it. Tweah is proving those individuals right, because from the look of things, we are on a downward spiral. So Mr. Tweah understood that he will not be singing that song. Another thing, in that song, they said, Coco Mensa, aha, we not come with fire. Do you think Samuel Tweah has come with fire yet today in economy? I don't think Mr. Tweah has come with fire. I don't see any economic fire in Samuel Tweah. But later on, I want you to stay with me here. We'll be looking into the economic theories of Samuel Tweah that are classified as Tweahconomics. But there is Mr. Tweah singing along with the president and Magay. You understand? Singing the song Coco Mensa, aha, we not come with fire. I don't see no fire from Samuel Tweah. If Samuel Tweah have fire in him, the economy will be stabilized right now. The exchange rate will be okay. Inflation rate will be at least on an upward spiral. But the inflation rate that we see is on a downward spiral. The exchange rate from the time they took over moved from a lower rate to a higher rate. And that can be said about every economic indicator in the country or in that economy. So if only Mr. Tweah had come with fire, that fire will be able to turn things around, or at least get things on an upward spiral. But things are on a downward spiral. So Mr. Tweah is there wrong. He did not come with no fire. Mr. Tweah is also there wrong to say that, and they say we can't make it. Mr. Tweah, right now you are not making it with the economy. The Liberian economy is not making it. And that is a fact. Because the numbers tell us that Mr. Tweah is not making it with the economy. Let's go to the son again. Say Mr. Tweah responsibility or his way of demonstrating seriousness, the way of showing that he cares and understands the responsibility of a finance minister is to sing song or songs. Let's go to Mr. Tweah's songs, folks. And somewhere in the song, they say, you don't have the Tweah to defeat us. You are wasting your time. Folks, there is Samuel Tweah again seeking another song. You don't have the Tweah to defeat us. You are wasting your time. Folks, look at the economy and look at Samuel Tweah. Who is defeating the other? I think the economy is defeating Samuel Tweah. So for Tweah to be singing and dancing, you don't have the Tweah to defeat us. You don't have the Tweah to defeat us. You don't have the Tweah to defeat us. You are wasting your time, Mr. Tweah. the economy is defeating you. You are wrong for singing that song that Liberians don't have the Tweah to defeat the economic mess that we have on our hand. Tweah, we can count on you. You are wrong, Tweah, to be singing the song that we don't have the Tweah to defeat this economy, the economic mess that we have on our hands. For you to be saying we don't have the Tweah that can defeat the economy. Mr. Tweah, I don't know if you understand that song that you are singing. I don't think you understand that song. So, my people, this thing is clear. If we are relying on Samuel Tweah to defeat the economy, then we are missing it. Because surely we are wasting our time with Tweah. But let me progress. Let me progress, folks. So Samuel Tweah there, again, proving me that he is wrong on the issue. From the song, he said, and they said we can't make it, he's not making it with the economy. With Samuel Tweah as our final minister, the economy is defeating us as a country. Coco Mensa will not come with fire. I don't see no fire in Samuel Tweah because the economy is crossing Samuel Tweah. All his economic policies are being crushed by the economy. But stay with me, we'll go into Samuel Tweah economic policies. And the fact that we don't have the Tweah and we are wasting our time. Samuel Tweah is right on that one, maybe. That we don't have a Tweah to defeat this economy. We don't have that kind of Tweah. Because the Tweah that I'm looking at here as finance minister, he does not have it. He does not have it. But fast forward, let me progress. Let me roll you another clip of Mr. Samuel Tweah preaching change, especially in the area of health and education. Let me bring you this clip and stay with me and pay close attention. Be attentive to the wordings of Samuel Tweah. Listen to Samuel Tweah eloquence on the issue. Watch.
We have children across Africa taking, memorizing boring subjects that will not matter for them in their livelihood or in their job search for 12 years. This is a waste of intellectual capacity. That has to change. But how do we do that? We need to change curricula. We can't be operating in this 21st century technology economy and drawing on 1960 curricula for our schools. That has to change. This is what we mean by investment in human capital. The quality of teachers, So I make this case because a lot of the money we get in official development assistance goes to the social sector. Economic infrastructure has received about 20% over the last 50 years. The social sector has gotten 40%, twice that. But what is the return on that investment? That's the question we're asking. Even though we're spending more money on health and education, even though we invest more money there, what is the commensurate return we see such that we have better teachers, we have students who are able to read at grade level. I mean, we have students who are strong mathematically, who can then go and develop the engineering profiles, the technological jobs that matter for the population transition that we see. Unless we do this policy shift, we're not going to see human capital transformation. We can't. And so I would expect a strong recommendation coming from these deliberations.
Again, folks, you heard it right there. And when Samuel Tweah is speaking, you have to pay attention. And again, throughout this broadcast, I will be able to prove to you why Mr. Tweah has been wrong on most of the issues that he has been able to raise. You listen to Samuel Tweah there. I know the guy is good at using words. And when he put words together, he excites people who are moved by the eloquence of somebody or anybody for that matter. But I am not moved. I am not impressed by Mr. Tweah's eloquence. I am not moved because I am paying attention carefully to what Mr. Tweah is trying to get across. And that is what I want all of us to be able to do. Let us listen to our leaders. Now, there is Mr. Tweah again. And I'm going to show to you why Mr. Tweah is wrong. Let me progress. So, if you listen carefully, Mr. Tweah said, children across Africa are memorizing boring subjects that will not matter in their job search and livelihood. That is a waste of intellectual capacity. I agree with him on that one. I agree, but what are you doing about it? Even though we are spending more money on health and education, Mr. Tweah said, things are not going right. And he continued by saying, that has to change beginning from my ministry. Folks, you heard that. So Mr. Tweah there is trying to make the point that children across Africa are memorizing boring subjects. Listen to that statement. Across Africa are memorizing boring subjects. Subjects in this connotation that Mr. Tweah is talking about, he's talking about the books that we are using today. Those books are boring. What makes them boring? Because they are outdated. Go to the University of Liberia. The books that you see there, some of them are 50 years old or more. Those are the books that have been at the University of Liberia. And even our high schools in Liberia, most of the schools, go there. Pick a book. Look at the date it was published. You'll be surprised you see some books as old as 1956. Those are boring subjects Mr. Tweah is talking about. And so the question is, as finance minister, what are you doing about making the necessary allocations for subjects that are not boring to be brought to the classrooms? What is Mr. Tweah doing? We will know by what Mr. Tweah allocates for education. And that is how you will get to know that Mr. Tweah, again, is there wrong on the issues. Now, another thing that is important is that Mr. Tweah said that is a waste of intellectual capacity. And that's where I agree with Mr. Tweah. But what Mr. Tweah is wrong is, what is he doing with that intellectual capacity that has been wasted? When Mr. Tweah is the one trying to buy young people to just endorse politicians, instead of him finding the necessary resources to allocate the resources to educational institutions and raise the educational budget in the country. Mr. Tweah, if you look at the budget critically, you will see that there have been costs to education in some areas. So Mr. Tweah, what he's saying is different from what he's doing. And there where Mr. Tweah is wrong, folks. You cannot be telling me that children across Africa or children in Liberia are memorizing boring subjects. Boring subjects there meaning outdated books. And then you are not allotting more money for education so that books that are not outdated and boring can be procured for the young people so that their intellectual capacity will not be wasted. Mr. Tweah should be making more scholarship available for citizens, or not only citizens, young Liberians who have the energy and the potential to acquire knowledge so that they can gain the intellectual capacity to help our country. But if you look at Mr. Tweah's budget on education, it proves otherwise. Even when you look at Mr. Tweah's budget, when it comes to health, it proves otherwise, or it proves to the contrary. So, Mr. Tweah was the one, if you remember, who was able to rush to the treasury or to the nation's accounts and took $150,000 to rush an official of government out of the country because that official of government could not get better care for his survival in a Liberian hospital. If only Mr. Tweah had allotted more money for the hospitals to be capacitated or equipped, he will not be spending $150,000 to run or to take one official of government out of the country for medical care. Mr. Tweah will not be going for that kind of money. $150,000. Mr. Tweah rushed for it in the treasury, took the money and dashed it because somebody is sick and JFK cannot take care of that particular person. So Mr. Tweah, the only option, the only solution to that problem, that is the Tweahconomics I'm talking about. I will get to that later, is to just dish out $150,000 and just throw it at the health condition of that official of government. That is Mr. Tweah's approach. And I'm saying to you, Mr. Tweah is dead wrong. That is not how you build the capacity. That is not how you equip your health facility and your educational facilities. That is not how you do it. And he was saying that to change the thing, it must start with me, my ministry. Let me show you some numbers here, folks. I don't want to just be telling you something that is not factual. I got evidence. So, folks, as you can see here, this is one of our public schools in Liberia. I repeat, this is one of our public schools in Liberia. This is the government of Liberia school. Do you see that? You see the pictures? Are you seeing the pictures? These are pictures of one of our schools in the country in a dilapidating condition. How much money did Mr. Tweah allot for this school to be equipped so that students who are attending this school will have their intellectual capacity to be equipped? Is Mr. Tweah making allotment or providing funding or providing more money for education in our country so that their schools can get renovated, so that their school can be equipped with all of the materials, so that the students in this school, like all other schools, will have all the tools they need so that they will not be memorizing boring subjects? So as for their intellectual capacity not to be wasted, in the words of Samuel Tweah. What is Samuel Tweah doing? Now that I have shown you one of the schools that is in dilapidating condition, let's look at Tweah's budget. How much does Mr. Tweah allot for education in the country? How much did Mr. Tweah, how much did he allot for education in the country? Now, I took this information that is being displayed on the screen from Mr. Tweah's ministry, the finance ministry. If you look there carefully, as you can see, we are looking at the Ministry of Education, the education sector right there. You see that? Let's look at University of Liberia, $16 million. Monrovia Consolidated School System, it is about $3 million. Bocon Washington Institute, $1 million. Look at the numbers. You see the numbers? Habel College is $541,434. If you look at all these numbers, folks, you will get to realize that Mr. Tweah is not allotting more when it comes to education. And so Mr. Tweah is wrong. He said to change this thing, it must start with my ministry, the Ministry of Finance. How much is the minister allotting for education or all of our educational institutions? I just showed you pictures of one of the schools in Liberia. Since they took over, that school has not been renovated. It's been almost 3 years now. So Mr. Tweah could not be there wrong on that issue. Mr. Tweah again on health. You listen to him, he talk about health is where they are investing more money. He said they're investing more in education and health, but we're not getting the necessary or the desired return. Is he telling the truth? I'm saying no, he's not telling the truth. Let's look at Mr. Tweah, what he allotted for health. Here is the health sector. The health sector, as you are looking at this budget, you will see that in 2000, the 2018-2019 budget, the 2019-2020 budget, we have $86 million, all right, for the health sector. And from there, from the 2019 and 2020 budget, look at the board area, it was stayed $86 million. Then in the 2020-2021 budget, 2020-2021 budget, Mr. Tweah went and cut that budget from $86 million to $66 million. You see that? Does that tell you that Mr. Tweah is serious about what he's telling you? No, Mr. Tweah's words are different from his actions. And that is why Mr. Tweah is dead wrong on the issues. So, folks, you are watching Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony Shea hosting. Our topic is why Mr. Tweah is dead wrong, and we will also be touching on Tweahconomics. Let me progress here, folks. Let me progress. I have another video clip for you. This is our finance minister talking about salary cuts. Watch.
People say they must not cut the people's salary. When the legislator salary are cutting too much, I can go to the legislator and find out. Those people who say about cutting the legislator salary, I have money in there, they cut it because the legislator get money, they don't go there after for anything. Don't you hear? I get money, I can go there for them because the Minister of Finance, they have fought those people down, they're under pressure. Some of the people took loan, they ain't got money to pay the loan back. Do you hear it? I'm a fee for them because the minister will be working with the president to cut. But when I look at the lawmakers sometimes, I feel sorry because I know what they're going through. So nobody will tell you about the salary. They have done a lot of good work. For the first time in the history of the country, you know what it means for a lawmaker to cut their own pay? Who not doing it? Who not happy on the back? Who back? And the poor government. The reason is simple. We want more money. LEC. Let me tell you. The president ever though pay LEC bill. We only LEC, we only LEC. The president pay the former government.
So, folks, you heard it there for yourself. This finance minister continue to prove that he has no understanding of the issues and that he's always, for the most part, wrong on the issue. So, folks, this brings me to the other segment of the show. And this segment is Tweahconomics. But first of all, before I come to that video clip you just watched, let's talk about Tweahconomics. What is Tweahconomics? Tweahconomics is the economics of Tweah, the economic policies of Tweah, how Tweah understands and sees and applies and implements economic policies. That's why we call Tweahconomics. It is Tweah's theory, his approach, his belief, his way of handling the economy. That's why we call Tweahconomics. And it is important that we understand whether or not Mr. Tweah understands the role of a finance minister. I will come to that clip. There are a lot of things in there we have to unpack. Does Mr. Tweah understand the role of a finance minister? What is the role of a finance minister? The role of a finance minister will be defined in Tweah's understanding, and that is Tweahconomics 101. So let me share with you Tweahconomics 101. Tweahconomics 101, from my study and following of Mr. Samuel Tweah, is just taking money from one place to another. Whether or not it makes sense, whether or not it impacts positively, that is not Mr. Tweah's business. All he does and understands is taking money from one place to another. In as much as an individual is able to take money from one place to another, that is Samuel Tweah's understanding of economics. And that is Tweahconomics 101. Wait. Mr. Tweah, this guy is interesting. Sometimes when I listen to him, I just want to laugh. Tweahconomics 101. If you want to understand Tweahconomics 101, do you really understand, Mr. Tweah, the role of a finance minister? Is the finance minister role to just be taking money from one place to another? Or is the finance minister supposed to be some kind of a fiscal policy expert? How to make appropriation or to draft a budget that will be able to drive the economy in a positive direction that will impact the lives of the people. But for Samuel Tweah, his understanding of the role of a finance minister is just moving money from one place to another. And I'm going to prove it to you. No, it is not what you hear. It is what the man does. There's this saying that action speaks louder than words. And so I will be able to show to you that Mr. Tweah has no understanding. He has no understanding whatsoever of the role of the finance minister. No, he doesn't. If he knew that, Liberia would be on an upward spiral economically. Things would be better in the country economically. But our economic numbers, the economic indicators, they are bad. Very, very bad. Key sectors in which Mr. Tweah should be investing more money, Mr. Tweah is not investing more money into these sectors. He is investing more money into sectors that are of less importance compared to sectors like health and education. And because his understanding of economics is to just move money, a chunk of money from here and there, and that is what Mr. Tweah did when it came to the issue of Mobutu. He ran for $150,000. Let a man be flown out of the country. From the treasury, boom, to economics. That is how he understands that you can, provide funding for the health sector so as to keep Liberia healthy. That is his understanding. And that has been, to be honest and to be fair to Mr. Tweah, that has been happening in the country. But Mr. Tweah came and said that to change this, that's why he said. He says to change this, we must invest more money. We are investing more money into health and education. But if you look at the budget, it's contrary to what Mr. Tweah is saying. But at the end of the day, Mr. Tweah will move money from here and chunk it to the other. That is his understanding of the economics or the economy. So this is what we call Tweahconomics 101. So to prove that further, you remember when the map or exercise started, that was Mr. Tweah's idea that there was too much, they call it excess liquidity, trying to use big terms to confuse our people. There were too much Liberian dollars on the market. And so we need to take a lot of Liberian dollars outside of the market by using United States dollars, which they classify as map or exercise. Because Mr. Tweah's understanding of economics is to just move money from one place to another. According to Mr. Tweah, they use unconventional means. Unconventional means. According to him, They had the money in bags. They had money in bags, moving from one community to another. In Samuel Tweah own words, we took the money to Town, we took the money to Doe community, to West Point, to Claratown, to Town, to the money exchangers to give us the US dollar. This is Samuel Tweah understanding of economics. And this is Economics 101. Tweahconomics 101. Again, Tweahconomics 101. Moving money here and there. That's the only thing Mr. Tweah understands. So Tweahconomics 101 is taking money here and there and sending it there. Whether or not it makes sense, whether or not it gives you the greatest return, Mr. Tweah doesn't care. So Mr. Tweah grabbed, according to him, money, put it in the pickup, put it in bag, rushed to the slum communities, and took out the excess Liberian dollars. That's Tweah's understanding of economics. In his own word, we use unconventional methods. We did it outside of the banking setup. What kind of economy? What kind of economist will operate like that? Only a Samuel Tweah will do that. And did that help the situation? No. The exchange rate is still high. Tweahconomics 101. Now, another theory of Samuel Tweah, folks, another theory of Samuel Tweah is the whole cover whole. And this one is Tweahconomics 201. Tweahconomics 201 is the whole cover whole. And then Tweahconomics 201 also borrowing initiative. You remember borrowing initiative? When Samuel Tweah went to the central bank and they took money from the donors' account, and 9 diplomatic heavyweights have to send a letter to the Liberian government demanding that Liberia put back its money into its account because it had no knowledge whatsoever that our government went into their accounts and took their money unauthorized or without their consent. That was Mr. Tweah again using his economic theory. And that is why we call Tweahconomics 201. The whole cover whole borrowing initiative. That is Mr. Tweah right there. Now, there is a video of Mr. Samuel Tweah at some point explaining that Thomas Fowler is the finance minister in, he said that Samuel Tweah said that Thomas Fowler is the finance minister in the House of Representatives. Can you believe that, folks? He's talking about Thomas Fowler being the finance minister in the House of Representatives. And why you think he's calling Thomas Fowler, or referring to Thomas Fowler as the finance minister in the House of Representatives? Because just like Samuel Tweah, going from one place to another, carrying money and dishing money out, don't you see Thomas Fowler doing the same thing? He said he is the Ways, Means, and Finance chairman in the House of Representatives. He is the finance minister. If only Samuel Tweah understood the role of a finance minister, he would not come out to say Thomas Fowler is the finance minister in the House of Representatives. I disagree with that. Mr. Tweah is wrong. The country Liberia does not have 2 finance ministers. I know people will come here and justify, oh, the man was just drawing an analogy. That is Samuel Tweah's understanding of a finance minister. One who takes money, takes it to the community, and distributes it. Do you not see Thomas Fowler doing that? Do you not see Thomas Fowler doing that? Do you also not see Samuel Tweah doing that? Did you not listen to the audio tape that Samuel Tweah is giving money to people like Noel Zhao Gibson and others to endorse Thomas Fowler? That's what Samuel Tweah is doing. He's buying people to endorse his candidate, giving them money, $200 just to meet with them at a hotel, and then 500,000 Liberians dollar just for them to endorse Thomas Fowler. Samuel Tweah is moving money from one place to another, taking it to the community to get his aim accomplished. That is Tweahconomics. And so because Thomas Fowler does that same thing, that is how Samuel Tweah now sees Thomas Fowler as the finance minister in the House of Representatives. Does Liberia have two finance ministers, folks? Have you ever heard this kind of thing before? And you are hearing this from Samuel Tweah, one of the quote-unquote smartest guy, one of the smartest guys in Liberia or individuals in Liberia. Samuel Tweah is dead wrong, and his Tweahconomics does not work for Liberia. Let me roll this clip for you and listen to Samuel Tweah again, folks.
You can't get, and the people can mislead you. They won't fool you. The president went, they made and they made a chairman of the Ways and Means Committee and the finance minister in the House of Representatives. They cut the legislature salary. So your ALL answer how much you're making before harmonization, they were making 10,000. After harmonization, the harmonization slashing and took more than 2,000 for him. He came to 7,000. When the government paid the taxes for the man, the money he can take home when you take, you go to the bank. The money they make and get, that 5,000, I think, change. Now why he can carry home with 5,000? There's somebody, now let me tell you now, the one Echo Bank can take for that money. Because you owe it, you don't see all that paying in the bank, you think he credit from the bank? You owe it some people. I won't pass the money. The other lawmaker they owe it. Let me tell you now, when you take 200,000 from the bank, or let's say we take 100,000, and you say you will pay over a 6-year period because you're representative, Echo Bank will take 2,000 from you every month. So that 5,000 that government gave you, you got to take Echo Bank 2,000. If you take 100, for the people who take 200,000, Echo Bank will take almost 4,000. So when the 5,000 go down, Echo Bank take that 4,000, how many there? At 1,000. What do you do? That 1,000 there, you got to go buy rest, you got to go buy TV. Then you have the men are humanitarian also there. Now poor people we can share with our people. When they will be there. So when you say them a partner mayor now, who can give 5,000, they don't say they will take 2,000, but that's so you can get 3,000. That means the bank will go bankrupt because you will not be able to pay the bank. You all know who money the bank get? Now your money in the bank. The bank can take your money and give it to somebody. So people say they must take cut the people's salary. When the legislator salary are kind of too much, you can go to the legislator and find out. Don't people who say about cutting legislator salary, and your money in there, the country will because the legislator didn't get money, they don't put it out to find anything. Don't you hear? Market money, you can't go there for them because the avenues of finance, they have fought those people down, they're under pressure. Some of the people took loan, they didn't get money to pay the loan back. Do you hear it? I'm going to say a fee for there because the minister will be working with the president to cut. But when I look at the lawmakers sometimes, I feel sorry because I know what they're going through. So nobody will tell you.
So folks, there you have it. Another display of eloquence from Samuel Tweah. And I'm going to prove to you that Samuel Tweah again is wrong. And he is not just wrong, he is dead wrong. There is Thomas Fowler sitting right there. He's pointing a finger at him, and I think I explained that he's the finance minister in the house. But that is not what I want to talk about right now because I told you about that. The one I want to bring to your attention is that Samuel Tweah is other economic policy. Samuel Tweah talking about the lawmakers. Salary should not be cut. He's defending that. When I was listening to Mr. Tweah giving all that justification, I was just depressed. It got me wondering, what is this man doing? Is Mr. Tweah supposed to be there with a candidate running and he's standing down there? At some point, he got a barrel on his head, trying to justify why legislators' salary should not be cut. Amen. Samuel Tweah, you are wrong and you are dead wrong. But let's go to what he said. He said, I feel sorry for the legislators. The legislators are under pressure. They took loan. They don't have money to pay the loan back. They have done a lot of work. If they cut the legislator's salary, that your money they're cutting. Jesus Christ. Folks, are you listening to your finance minister? It's Mr. Tweah. Why Mr. Tweah felt the need to go and stand with a senatorial candidate to justify bringing himself to that level, exposing himself that he lacks the basic understanding of the roles and the responsibility of a finance minister. Is he the one who's supposed to be explaining to people that legislators are under pressure? Is that the role of the finance minister? Are the lawmakers not competent or able enough to face their people and carry on that explanation? That is the role of your finance minister. When the economy is in a free fall, and your finance minister will say, I feel sorry for the legislators in front of poor Liberians, some of whom have been looking for jobs for the past 15 years and have not landed a job. And Samuel Tweah is justifying that legislator salary should not be cut. At some point in the video, he said that before harmonization, the legislator were making 10,000. And he's telling the poor people, right there, you see the desperation? You see that Mr. Tweah is completely out of place here? Is that the role of a finance minister? When in fact, it is not even a campaign period. Your finance minister should be worrying about fiscal issue in the country. When we have this economic chaos on our hands, Mr. Tweah, because he's tried all his economic theories, he tried Tweahconomics everywhere and failed. And so now he has resorted to the low-hanging fruits. What is easier? That's what he wants to do. To go with Thomas' father and painfully try to justify why lawmakers' salaries should not be cut. Folks, don't you think the legislator have the capacity themselves to be able to tell whether or not their salary should be cut? Mr. Tweah has jumped into politics. He has abandoned his responsibility as a finance minister, as the chief fiscal officer of the country. He has abandoned that. He has no interest. He tried everything, it didn't work. So he has come to politics. This is the economist Tweah knows. The legislators are under pressure. That Samuel Tweah wrote there as a finance minister to go and explain to suffering Liberians, some of whom are not even making $100 a month. There are some people that are even making $50 out of the washing somebody's clothes. That's what they're making. These are some of the people Mr. Tweah is standing in front of. and telling them that the lawmaker who are making around $7,000 now because of what he considered a harmonization, their salary should not be cut, and that they should not make $5,000 because the loan proposal is that they should make $5,000. Tweah is kicking against it, and he is selling that to Liberians, some of whom are making $50 US a month, $200 US a month or less. Some of them who don't even have a job at all. Mr. Tweah, the finance minister, is trying every way possible to convince those Liberians that cutting the salary of the lawmakers further will mean that they are not cutting the lawmakers' salary, but they are cutting the people's salary. Does that make sense to you folks? Samuel Tweah is dead wrong. His Tweahconomics does not work. That is absurd. Samuel Tweah has proven that he lacks the basic understanding of the roles and responsibility of a finance minister. It is not the job of the finance minister to be a spokesman for a senatorial candidate to explain and justify why that lawmaker's salary should not be cut. That is not a role. Not at all. The guy does not know what he's up to. He's completely lost. And this is a guy we have as our finance minister. Folks, don't you see this? So when I'm telling you that Samuel Tweah is wrong, and not only wrong, but that he's dead wrong, I think I'm right. And when I also try to tell you that all that Samuel Tweah is telling you, all his policies that he has demonstrated and acted on, is nothing but Tweahconomics. And that Tweahconomics does not work for Liberia. And Tweahconomics is dangerous for Liberia. Tweahconomics is taking $150,000 to pay somebody a hospital bill. Tweahconomics is by using $10,000 to buy a plane ticket. Tweahconomics is taking money, few $1,000s, and giving it to people to endorse your candidate. Tweahconomics is taking US dollar and taking it to Wallasai, Nicrutown, and Doe community in the name of map up. That is Tweahconomics. It does not work, folks. The exchange rate stay high. Tweah has been dishing out money to these so-called politicians on Facebook. It's not helping the Liberian people. No, it's not. It's not helping the exchange rate. It's not helping the inflation rate. It's not even helping with the pay of salaries. Tweahconomics is dangerous for Liberia. Tweahconomics is bad for Liberia. Folks, I don't know how we have this guy as our finance minister, folks, to be serious. I don't know. How can we have this guy as our finance minister? So, making progress here, folks. Another Tweahconomics that we want to bring to your attention is Mr. Tweah borrowing money. I have the clip. I will not play it because I play in part 1. That was Mr. Tweah talking about this $16 billion thing. It's hurting us. Anytime I leave the country, and for each time I went out to beg for money, the partners will come to me saying, oh, but there's this $16 billion. Listen to the word. Anytime Samuel Tweah was saying that he went out to beg for money, underline that word beg. That is another theory of Samuel Tweah. And this one is Tweahconomics 301. Tweahconomics 301 is just going around and begging for money. This is not my words, folks. Couldn't the finance minister come up with a better way of describing how you go out. When you are going out as a chief fiscal officer of the country, you want to be able to carry programs to partners, programs in education, programs in healthcare, programs, in agriculture, in every sector there is. Development projects that you think will be able to spur economic growth in the country. These are the things you carry to the people and introduce to them. That if you can invest in this program of ours, let's say vocational training, in computer science, in the STEM area, we will be able to train, and our goal is to train at least maybe 500 young Liberians in this area, in this area, in that area, in a year time. If we do that for 3 years, after that 3 years, at least we'll be having qualified and trained Liberians, maybe about 5,000 of them, who will be ready to take on the job that may be available today. So that when an investor comes into the country to invest, we will have the skills and the trained individuals to be able to occupy those positions. And that when the investors look at who are the qualified people in the country to occupy these jobs, when I move my company in that country, they will be able to look at the numbers of qualified Liberians and make that decision to come into the country, thereby making more of the money to stay into the country. And these young people now will be able to have purchasing power to buy goods and services into the country, thereby leading to economic growth in the country. These are the kind of fiscal program Mr. Tweah should be able to take to his partners in exchange for funding. But what was Mr. Tweah worse? Anytime we go out to beg for money, this $16 billion thing can come. Are you supposed to be going out to beg for money? Really? Our final minister, according to him, his role is to just go out and beg for money. So anytime you see Mr. Tweah traveling, he's going out to beg for money. That is shameful. Very, very shameful. A finance minister who understands his role, that he is the chief fiscal officer of the country, and that when he goes out, he should carry programs to sell to investors and donor countries, programs that they can fund, like in agriculture. These are the things you carry to the people, so that when they invest their money in these sectors, they know that there will be growth, and that growth will translate into income. That growth will translate into employment opportunity for young people. They talk about their PAPD, how they're supposed to create about 1 million jobs. And you think by going around to be begging, which is Tweahconomics 301, you think that's why going to create the jobs in the country? Folks, Tweahconomics is bad for Liberia. Tweahconomics does not work. Samuel Tweah is dead wrong. Let me progress. Let's come to his so-called harmonization. You saw how it was painful to watch when he was explaining harmonization, and Thomas Father was sitting right there. Very painful. I'm not even going to go into his harmonization. The only thing I want from his harmonization, let Samuel Tweah be able to show me where I can go to find the statistics on harmonization. How many persons' salary they harmonize, from where to where. I want to see those numbers. And how that harmonization policy has led to a reduction, all right, in the expenditure portion of the government. How it led to reduction in what they call recurring expenses. Recurring expenses is the money that the government is spending day by day, especially on salaries and other things like that. I want to see it. How that harmonization helped to reduce the amount being spent on recurring expenses, so as for us to save a little more money and be able to invest it into health and education and other sectors that we need. I want to see those numbers. If I see those numbers and those numbers tell the truth, then I will be able to salute Samuel Tweah when it comes to a so-called harmonization policies that were only intended to economically strangulate our people in that country. Let the numbers be able to tell the story. And you saw him explaining that using Thomas Fowler as a case study. That was painful to watch. And you see, he's looking at Thomas Fowler face, and you could tell that Thomas Fowler was not happy with that explanation. It was poor, it was weak, it was flat, it didn't make any sense whatsoever. And so those of you who are fond of Samuel Tweah as being a guy who is eloquent, it's not that when somebody has the ability to be able to move words yet and then and pronounce them swiftly, that person is eloquent. Be eloquent. If you want to be eloquent, or if someone is eloquent, the eloquence should not only be with the use of the words, the logic should flow and it should make sense. And the logic should be able to add up. So that eloquence that you Liberian people are happy about is not helping anything. Tweah is wrong with his eloquence. That now his eloquence is going to solve the problem. And his eloquence that he continued to display completely far from economic logic. Only in a Tweahconomics with that eloquence hold any water. Let's come to the last theory of Tweahconomics. So Samuel Tweah tried Tweahconomics 101, Tweahconomics 201, Tweahconomics 301, everything failed. And so he came to the last level now for him to graduate. And guess what Tweah was talking about? Let me roll that clip quickly so you can listen to the last theory of Samuel Tweah. And this theory will shock you. The last theory of Tweahconomics. Watch, folks.
Look, a benevolent dictator, meaning somebody like Paul Kagame, who alone can sit in the room and make a decision can change the country faster. This is what's happening in a lot of the Asian dictatorships where the benevolent dictator just say, okay, you know what, I don't hear what the other people say in a view. I won't build that road and I'll put the money there. Because so now you say you won't build the road, people say, okay, do the land, everybody start democratizing the decision, then you slow. But we need tough decisions. So let's reorient this whole government. The president will now have that resounding mandate for people to be afraid of him. So this is the mandate that you want to give him this December 8th. Look, a benevolent dictator, meaning somebody like Paul Kagame, who alone can sit in the room and make a decision can change the country faster. This is what's happening in a lot of the Asian dictatorships where the benevolent dictator just say, okay, you know what, I don't hear what the other people say in a view. I won't build that road and I'll put the money there. Because so now you say you won't build the road, people say, okay, do the land, everybody start democratizing the decision, then you slow. But we need tough decisions. So let's reorient this whole government.
So folks, folks, you see there is our finance minister. That is the last theory of Tweahconomics. The last theory of Tweahconomics for which we might be graduating Mr. Samuel Tweah from the Liberia School of Tweahconomics. He will be graduating after this last course, the 400 level course from the Liberia School of Tweahconomics. Mr. Tweah will be graduating. Mr. Tweah will be graduating after completing this final level of Tweahconomics. And the final level of Tweahconomics is called Benevolent Dictator. Underline that. Benevolent Dictator. That is the last theory of Samuel Tweah. Benevolent Dictator. Let's get serious here, folks. Do you ever imagine that a finance minister of a country that is in economic mess, economic woes of all sorts, will have the courage to pick up a microphone to talk about the leader of the country should be made a dictator, and he has the gust, he has the audacity, venturing into territory of criticizing the democratic governance of our country, saying that, when you start democratizing decision making, then it slows progress. And what we need to do is to make this president, talking about Joshua, a benevolent dictator, so that he will have a resounding mandate for Liberian people to be afraid of him. You listening to the eloquence of Samuel Tweah, folks? Are you listening to the eloquence of your finance minister? Do you see now why I continue to tell you Samuel Tweah is dead wrong? He is wrong. Liberia does not need a dictator. We have many of them. We are where we are. Nowhere economically, nowhere educationally, nowhere in terms of our healthcare, nowhere in terms of our agriculture sector, nowhere, and nowhere. So after Samuel Tweah has tried harmonization, he has tried map or exercise, he has tried all the theories in his Tweahconomics, and nothing worked. He tried borrowing initiative. He tried the whole cover whole. Nothing worked. Tweahconomics 401 is benevolent dictator. The last time I checked, Chancellor became a dictator, a brutal one for that matter. And Taylor, in fact, has some benevolence in him. Yes. Taylor has some benevolence in him, in terms of the compassion to be able to share with others. That's what we call benevolence. Taylor had it. Where did Liberia go? He was a dictator. He was benevolent. Liberia did not go anywhere. In fact, we experienced not sanction, but embargo. Embargo is greater than sanction. That's what we got. Things were tough in the country. The last time I checked, William V.S. Tubman was another benevolent dictator. He ruled our country for 27 years. He had informers. I think they used to call them PRO. Everywhere. He had chiefs on payroll to give him information. He was a benevolent dictator. Liberia enjoyed relative peace at the time, but yet because of his benevolent dictatorship, we got nowhere. Is Samuel Tweah a student of history, folks? And the last theory in Tweahconomics from Liberia School of Tweahconomics is a benevolent dictator. That is what Samuel Tweah is proposing. And today he's going to graduate with a degree in Tweahconomics. Folks, Samuel Tweah is dead wrong. Tweahconomics is bad for Liberia. It's dangerous for Liberia. It has not worked. It will not work. And Liberia is in trouble with this guy called Tweah, who lacks the basic understanding of the roles and responsibility of a finance minister. And he thinks that the role of a finance minister is to go around and beg for money. And he thinks the role of a finance minister is to take money and move to community. In his own word, we took the money to slum communities like Negro Town and did a map exercise. We used unconventional means. We did it outside of the banking sectors. What kind of economists would do something like that? Instead of using the commercial banks for accountability, you put money in cars and trucks, in bags, and you start trucking or driving from one community to another. And that's what I told you earlier. Samuel Tweah understanding of economics or the role of the finance minister is to move money here and put it there. That's why he did with the mapper exercise. That's why he did when Mr. Mabutu Yimpa, fell ill. Took $150,000 and just threw out the problem, thinking that would solve Liberia healthcare system and budgeting very less money for our healthcare system. At some point, Samuel Tweah had the audacity and he budgeted $500,000 for JFK in the recast budget when they took over. And it was the same exact $500,000 Samuel Tweah went and budgeted for the First Lady. And then he talking about to change the situation we have, we need to invest more money in education and health. And it will start with my ministry. And I show you a picture of a high school in Liberia, in complete dilapidating condition. Talking about Liberians, children across Africa are reading boring subjects or memorizing boring subjects. And yet, he can increase the funding in education so that we can buy books that those students can be able to use. Samuel Tweah is dead wrong. Tweahconomics is bad for Liberia. Tweahconomics does not work. But hey, let me complete Tweahconomics 401, which is Benevolent Dictator. To change the country faster, unquote, Samuel Tweah speaking, we need a benevolent dictator who, when he said, I want bail roll, and according to the way he sell it, we need a benevolent dictator who, when he want to bail roll, you just take the money and pull it there. Do you understand Samuel Tweah? Yeah. His understanding of the finance minister role is to just take money and pull it there. So he wants us to have a benevolent dictator. Somebody who will gather in the money. Hey, Samuel Tweah, bring the money. Apparently, that's what they've been doing. All these quick impact projects, hasty projects here and there to impress people. You just taking money here and there and throwing it there. The next thing you go, Lord, the president go and break ground. And they go and display it. Tweahconomics, Tweah understanding of the economy, Tweah understanding of the role of a finance minister. So, folks, instead of us growing our economy, reviving our economy from a market economic standpoint, is proving to have worked in many countries. Mr. Tweah is telling us, the Liberian people, that we should resort to Tweahconomics 401, aka benevolent dictatorship, to grow our economy. I feel sick to my stomach that this guy, many people are fond of to be an eloquent and smart guy, will be telling us that we should make the president as the benevolent dictator and the problem of Liberia will be solved. My conclusion, Tweah has tried everything. Tweah has failed. I am opening my phone lines so that you can have your say. Folks, you have been watching Focus on Liberia. This is our program, The Hour of Politics, with me, Anthony C., your host. Folks, you can now place your call quickly. I am here to take your phone calls. Folks, I am here to take your phone calls. The program you have been watching is The Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia. I have made my case. I have made my presentation. I discussed the topic, why Samuel Tweah is dead wrong, and how Tweahconomics is bad for Liberia. I first defined Tweahconomics for you. I defined all the levels of Tweahconomics, or the theories of Tweahconomics, and how they are all wrong for Liberia. I see my colors are all here. They are fire all like I am. Give me a moment. Let me remute all of you on mute so that I can start bringing you in quickly here, folks. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Let me get things set up here for you so that you can participate. And for your information, I will. Oh, let me see. Okay, I think it's not on hold. All right, let me see who is my first caller here. My first caller here is Hassan. All right, Hassan, your name and what? Let's say, yeah, Hassan, how you doing? Welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Not bad, Anthony. How are you?
Doing well, my brother. I made my case. I made my presentation. It's your time to speak or forever hold your peace. Let's go. What you got?
Your case have a lot of holes in it.
Thank you.
And I'm here to unmask your case.
I like that. Do that for me and my audience. You know, I'm not always right. I'm a human being. Go ahead.
Number one, let's look at the course report that came out of the 25 million mop-up exercise.
Okay.
One thing you did not tell your audience that the CBL is an autonomous agency on its own. That the Minister of Finance does not deal with liquid cash. So when you say that Samuel Tweah was carrying money in bags around town, that is misleading, false. Post number one.
Hassan, hold on. I'm not the one who said that. Samuel Tweah said that we took money to slum community, Negro Town, Clara Town. He said that, not me said that. So go ahead.
He never said he took money. The economic management team, and the central bank is the one that is responsible for liquid cash. The Minister of Finance will never take money in bags himself. That is wrong.
But Samuel Tweah said
check
that.
out the course report, I think
is wrong, and I'm not wrong. Samuel Tweah is wrong. I'm not wrong. He said that. I was quoting him.
I never hear Samuel Tweah said he personally took money. He said it was unconventional and a process that are happening even under the past regime, 2014. It happened under the past regime. To go there to this mom and pop's place and take money, and root out all this money and bring it back and give them a dollar, US dollar. So that's what they was looking, the economic management team did. He is not part of, Samuel Tweah is not part of the CBL. He's not part of Central Bank. Central Bank, they handle cash. He cannot do it. It's illegal. He cannot.
Hold on, Hassan. Let me ask you the question. Who is the head of the economic management team?
If you're the head of the economic management team, even if Samuel Tweah the head, he does not deal with liquid cash. The management team there to set the policy. When they set the policy, and then the bank, which is the central bank, they go ahead and execute the policy. But Samuel Tweah of himself is not the one that took money. Never.
Okay.
It's in the course report. If you check the course report, you will see that I think it's around 3.7 point something. Is there? If you check the report, you're going to see there what the investigation did by the Americans and said that the Minister of Finance they're not responsible for and liquid cash. It's there. It's in the report.
Yeah, Hassan,
the problem is a lot of people don't read
the report. What next
did
I say? Let's move to the other issue. You said that. What next did I say that I have issue or you want to counter? Let's go to another issue that I said that you want to correct or counter or pull hole in your words.
Okay. And Samuel Tweah and it's not going around campaigning on the government time. Samuel Tweah, as a citizen of Liberia, he can campaign on a Saturday after his 8 hours of work as a citizen.
What's about the things he said at the campaign? I'm meaning about the things he said at the campaign trail. So pull hole in that.
Okay, what he said. Mm-hmm. Okay, what he said in the campaign trail, certain things there that it was misleading. The 16 billion, the mop-up exercise, the taking money from here and there. He thought he needed that time to go out and explain to the Liberian people that, first of all, there was no 25 million was infused. It was 17 million was infused. He needed to let the people know. Let me say this, Anthony. This is the best I ever see a finance minister in my lifetime coming to the people and let the people be part of the economy. Let the people don't be a spectator to their own economy. It should be a plus.
The people are complete spectators. Let leave it there, my man concludes so I can bring in the non-color. The people are complete spectators. They are not even spectators. They are not
Anthony,
they're not even in the stadium, by the way.
Anthony, you guys have a very, very decent platform. I love your platform. You bring decent people on. You give people a chance to understand what's going on, you know. Yeah. But and by us coming in and debunk some of the things, make your platform very decent, and I love you guys' platform. But one thing I will leave with the people that Samuel Tweah did never is in the report. Read the report. Did not take part in liquid cash. And autonomous agency, which is the CBL, on their own, they control money. Money. Samuel Tweah does not control money. It's not possible. So that's what I'm going to say and leave with you guys.
Hassan, thank you for always contributing. We appreciate you, my brother. We have to debate the issue. All right, my next caller here. Yeah, my next caller here is Anthony Gay. Anthony, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Quickly to the issue.
Thank you, as always. Thank you for allowing me to come on here and share my little 2 cents.
Yes.
I don't like to piggyback on what other people say, but if Hassan come here to say you want to put hole in what you say, then you should come straight. But I don't know if Hassan is somebody who stuttered, but he was trying to find his own words. That's how when people are not, honest about the issue, that how they sound. Your analysis tonight are very spot on. Why? Because you use exactly word for word what Samuel Tweah said. Listen, the economic management team was a team president. We had a press conference and said, I will instruct my finance minister and the financial team will put together X, Y, and Z. But 25 million of the reserve fund will be infused into the economy just to help the circumstances with the exchange rate. That was the reason why. What else 25 million of that money was used? That is not the point. The reason why the 25 million was even withdrawn from our reserve was because for it to be used for a map-up exercise. The CRE report he referenced, that CRE report also spelled out that the map-up was a flap. In economics, when they tell you it's a flap, that means that it was not done properly. It did not meet international standard or best practices. That's the word they use in the report. Right. It did not meet international best practices. Since the gentleman want to reference the report, let us reference the report. Now, if there is an issue, that was the very first test to test the ability, the competency of Samuel Tweah as a finance, because being a finance minister is a practical function. It is not a theoretical. It's not a place for you to intellectualize the economy. You must put in work, and that work will you over time. Just as you referenced the U.S. economy, I was in D.C. at Obama's first inaugural program. I was very fortunate. Somebody gave me a ticket
Yeah.
And I went there, and 800,000 people lost their job that very same day. However, we are not here to compare the United States to that of Liberia.
Right.
But it was just a snapshot we're trying to give. Now, when it comes to Samuel Tweah talking about, there is a phrase he used. We went down, Nuku down, saw some Tweah there, and we saw that he has X amount of money. We buy the money from his hand.
That's what he said. And I'm going to get that clip and give it to Hassan.
No one can trade.
He said that. I think he was on EFBC when he said that.
He said that on EFBC.
Yeah.
He said on EFBC radio. Okay? And you go on YouTube right now, you'll find it right on YouTube.
Right.
Now, we are not. I personally asked Samuel Tweah in Philadelphia at his own town hall, Minister Tweah, what would you do for the Liberian government to adequately collect revenue? Because currently, as it stands, the government is unable to adequately collect revenue. Government revenue is ending up in individual pockets. Perfect example, passport. Go buy a passport or go pay for a passport today. You will see what will happen. The money is not going to government covers. Although our national revenue is not enough to sustain on our national budget, but it can generate up to 45% of our national budget. To conclude here, please. I see some other guys like Aliyu and other guys on your platform trending saying, you don't understand the economy, blah, blah, blah. But they are unable to pinpoint where you did not understand the economics. I mean, if you disagree with someone, then outline your point. Try and contrast what he has said. Right. But they can't say it. They say you are limited, but they can't point out where you are limited. So they have nothing to prove.
Thank you.
Thank you for the show.
Thank you, Anthony. I agree. I'm limited. I know that for a fact. I am very limited when it comes to the economy. But the little that I understand, Samuel Tweah cannot confuse me on those things, and that is what I'm telling you. Let me bring in my next caller, Mr. James Lazard. And folks, we're going by the order here. Mr. Lazard, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Quickly on the issue, tell me where I went wrong or where you agree with Samuel Tweah.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks. And so, first of all, I have to commend you for an excellent show today, as usual. But I want to just add a premium to today's show. You were not only analytical, you were also very factual with your information. So I was kind of a little disappointed because it seems that you kind of allowed a guy free hand to just do anything. I think when the platform you have is a high standard platform, and when participants come on, there is, an expectation that we have, but not to condone those who may be apologists or, surrogates or defenders. Yes, there should be room for them, but not to intentionally disinform the listening audience or misinform those of us who are following. I think if such happens, you could warn them that they are expected to stick to the facts. If they don't, you might have to cut them off so that we all can be guided by that. Because this is just not just for listening pleasure. Some of us come for information, for education, and others. So that was quite disappointing. Unless if one is coming as a propagandist, and I know you wouldn't certainly allow that on your show if that is the sole purpose of just disinforming, because everything you were saying over there was factual. Samuel Tweah used the word we, pronoun we. We went and carried the money in Yukutown, Waterside, and this and that. The Crow report itself said that. It didn't exonerate Tweah. Right. What it did, it in fact incriminated him, because it said certain top government officials refused to participate, to even provide response to questions. They didn't. So that is more incriminating than exculpating at that level. So that was just wrong. But I think what you said was just fine and factual. But look, I want to make a point about Tweah. I'm just so disappointed in Tweah. I have an email to him when they appointed him for confirmation, and I sent a short email to him as a friend, fellow civilian. Sony, you and I work on a couple of committees in the CDC here, actively working together. And I know you are a man of great ethical standards. I know you very well, and you and I worked together in a couple of instances. So also we did work with Tweah regarding what they did to George Solo. We had to provide our own position on that. But after Tweah was nominated, I wrote him as a civilian and told him I was available to help in any way possible in a party or outside to give advice and other things, because I had high expectation, because when I met this guy was in CDC. It was when, in fact, before we got involved with CDC, the neo-progressive, when they had broken up with Tweah, he and James Cody and others, and they called me as Villa board chair. So I only know Samuel Tweah on the phone. Here I talk, mostly he used to call me often, and we used to talk on the phone until I joined the CDC. I didn't know anything bad about him, except for what I heard other people say. And you and I, at our level, wouldn't just accept any hearsay. So I give him the credit. But I challenged him to do the best. It was an opportunity for a young man that to deliver. On the contrary, to my greatest disappointment, he is a complete failure.
The man has all the energy. He has all the energy. He's blundering all over the place. Our people are suffering, and they are there doing jolly.
He has no vision. He has no credibility, and he is not even as informed. And people talking about him being eloquent, I wouldn't quite agree with that, because he really is not eloquent. He does not. He's not a good pronouncer. He doesn't pronounce well, and he uses words just randomly, often improperly, and things. But you have to be at a certain level to know that. So he is capable of impressing his boss and those around him. But he is speaking, his eloquence, his information is just as poor as his performance. He's a complete failure. And it's sad that we are with all.
James, I agree with you. Let's leave it there. I got other callers waiting, so please conclude.
Correct. I'm trying to say someone else might have been helpful to help Tweah shape the country in a way that would have been quite different than what we are in today. And he's a key factor responsible for the failure of the Tweah government. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.
Lassa, thank you so very much. Thank you. Let me bring my next caller here is Kesali. I will soon get to you. Let me take this caller with phone number ending in 3219. Quickly to the issue. Caller with
Is that me, sir?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Okay. So the first thing I want to say is I don't know if you remember me. I'm your best friend, Benjamin.
Ben.
I just want to give you a piece.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yes, sir. I want to give you a piece of advice. Or I won't say advice. I want to give you a word of encouragement. What I think happened since I've been listening to your show, the first reactor, the person who called first before everybody, I think he smartly, I would say this, I'll use that word, he managed to sway all the good things that you were talking about to such an extent that the meat of your argument is now devoted to what he's saying. I would like to say this. You were not wrong. He offered nothing in terms of reaction to what you said. Right. But what he did was successfully distracted you. He brought something else that was unrelated to what you were saying, because you gave series of things and he just distracted you with one. But let me say this. You see, Samuel Tweah, as you listed, Samuel Tweah is successful because of what I would call a failure of governance. Let me tell you why I say that. He's the Minister of Finance of the Republic of Liberia. We have a group in Liberia called the legislature. They are the elected representative of the people. They have every right to open inquiry into any action Samuel Tweah takes. They have every right to do that. Let me just tell you this. In the House of Representatives, CDC has 21 lawmakers. Unity Party has 20. The rest is made out of opposition. In the House of Senate, CDC has only 4. Unity Party has 8
senators.
Folks there. Yeah, but let me tell you this. Look at those numbers. So to a large extent, the opposition that we're talking about, you see, I look at you, and what was hurting my heart was, look at my friend Anthony. Anthony is the one raising all the issues. Where are the elected representatives of the people? Where are they? So, Tweah would do what he do. He would make those announcements. He would say everything he want to say, simply because the elected representative of the people are not holding him accountable. Look at some of the pronouncements he said. Tweah went on the record. He said Liberia needs a benevolent dictator.
Yeah,
that's something that needs to be looked into. Why are you saying that? Why are you suggesting that? I when the last time I read, there was a pastor who came out and reacted to that. So if the people who elected these people, they cannot hold appointees accountable, then nothing else. But let me just give my last point.
And Ben, before you make your last point, I just forgot this clip before I could come on.
Yeah.
At some point, and this is factual, Samuel Tweah, I believe he was at the CDC party headquarters, and he said that, and Joshua will be president for Liberia forever. Samuel Tweah said that. It is a fact. Samuel Tweah, of all people in our democracy, telling Liberian people that Joshua is going to be president forever. There's no truth in that, but for him to have said that, surely, disclose who Samuel Tweah really is. I don't know if this guy is serious about governance. I'm not sure he's serious.
No.
Go ahead.
I would say this. I would disregard him. But we have majority of opposition in both houses of chambers. We have majority opposition. The CDC doesn't have a majority. They don't have that. So what is stopping them from holding Samuel Tweah accountable, for calling Samuel Tweah, to kind of ask him to throw more light on some of his pronouncements? They have that. They have that responsibility. They can do that. They can invite him. Well, let me just say this. Tweah has a responsibility. What the first guest said, and that's what I wish I was on call, because I was going to stick him to one thing. Tweah has a responsibility in terms of the economy of Liberia. I was just going to ask him, what is the status or what is the health of the Liberian economy? If Tweah has all this energy, like you said, the man he has been declared he's very smart.
Yeah.
Look at the economy of Liberia. Liberia is literally grinding to a halt.
The numbers are telling otherwise. My brother Hassan is praising Samuel Tweah. On what basis is he praising Samuel Tweah?
That's what I'm saying.
Because the inflation is high?
No. You see, that's what I'm saying. All the numbers are totally out of whack. So if the economy of Liberia is on a downturn, a downslide, I wanted to ask him this, the guy who just called, and that was the only thing I want to put to you. We are in the midst of a pandemic. What is the government of Liberia plan for the economy regarding this pandemic? Because we all thought it was going to be short, but it's trying to
I think we have to bring you on again.
What are the plans?
Others caller were waiting, so please conclude. I have to bring you on to discuss this.
No, I want to say thank you for your show, and I want to tell that guest that he was unfair to himself and to a lot of Liberians. But thank you, and I will continue to listen. I think you have a great show. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you very much.
Benjamin Kufa-Fania there. Man is running to be president. He's always in trouble with me here. Thanks, Ben. Let me bring in Kesely Double. After Kesely will be Mr. Amos George, and then we'll call it a day. Mr. Double, quickly to the issue. Are you enjoying Tweahconomics? Yeah, are you enjoying Tweahconomics?
My brother, thank you very much for giving me a platform once more as we come on. It is sad that my friend and brother has come on your platform and give all the best titles to your platform. Your platform is this, your platform is that. I mean, the best of titles. But guess what he himself did? He who you allow to come on the platform does not even represent the platform he described. The very description he gave the platform, decent, it is good, it is so beautiful. But then his utterances are far below the platform that he described. And was the kind of a good description he gave to the platform. Thank you for your analysis, my brother. The analysis are visual. You are seeing the pictures, you are showing all video. You are not just making the analysis in the absence of those pictorial aspects. You have the videos right before you that are playing before you. Why would we leave all of those information that you are providing and be going to something else that is not before us? Just from the statement, the utterances that Tweah is making, you don't even have to waste your time going to go look for other documents. Just the last time I called your show, I was saying the same thing. I even posted on my page, on my Facebook page. Samuel Tweah kept saying that there was no money missing all along. Samuel Tweah is the finance minister, but he sat there and allowed his Solicitor General to carry the former CBL officials to court, knowing pretty well that no money was missing. He couldn't advise his people not to take these people to court. The country is crying every day, there is no money, there is no money, there is no money. But Samuel Tweah, who was the smartest man in CDC, sat there, did not advise the government, allowed the government to spend extra money to take this food to court. Just in the final analysis, they found out at the end of the day, they did not win the case. This is the Samuel Tweah who is claiming to be smart. This is the Samuel Tweah who is even dumping Thomas Fala, instead of pushing Fala up, he is dumping Thomas Fala unknown to himself. Telling before the people and telling the people how much Thomas Fala is making, blatant lies, very big lie, and telling the people who Thomas Fala is. He thinks telling Thomas Fala up is just sad that the people he's talking to, those are the kind of information they want. But you cannot take that information to a certain group of people. You know you'll be dumping. He has dumped Thomas Fala completely. The entire campaign he's carrying off for Thomas Fala is a complete charade, a complete mess. In our Thomas Fala, I would not even allow him to speak on my campaign tour anytime because he's told Thomas Fala in more mess than he thinks he's doing. Thank you very much, my brother, and continue the good work for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Casoli Double there, making the case. Let me bring in the man, Mr. Emma George from Atlanta, where Focus on Liberia has a headquarters. Mr. George, welcome.
Yes, sir. Ansel, thank you for the presentation. Samuel Tweah is a dismal failure to the Liberian people. The Crow report, look at it. It said that portion of it, that the government was not forthcoming. Samuel Tweah was head of that team. If Samuel Tweah don't know what was happening within the team, then of course there's no need for him to be Minister of Finance. This guy, they took 5,000 now on Carrier Street of money changer. They made it 100 some more thousand, they said. It's in the report. And people come out today and say, oh no, he's not responsible. If you are put in charge of a system, a group of people, and something goes wrong and you cannot defend what they gave to you, then what is the need of you being there? What is the need? Look, the other day he went there and said, what? Pay the lawmaker more money because you will come back to beg then. Is the Minister of Finance saying that? You pay 100 some more people and you got 5 million people. Would they take care of those people? The dictatorship this guy talk about, Ansel, they are doing it. This was just now to put it out there to the public. Look at all these so-called contracts they are given. When last you saw the bid put in the public, for public debate, for people to bid on it, have you seen that? That's why Samuel Tweah said that the president should have that power.
Yeah.
So take contract and give it to anybody, nobody will question.
He said, that made the president benevolent dictator, so that when the president said take the money and put it there, dictator. Jesus Christ.
That means no accountability. You cannot ask anybody, and that's what they're doing. All the road construction, all the contract. The minister just come and say, "Oh, this person is the one who awarded the contract to." Right. That's what. That's been a dictator. So Samuel Tweah just came the other day now to put it out to the public to say, "Hey, I will throw all that to feed the people pause," and that's exactly what he did. Well, they already have it in practice. So this is not. Look at let me talk about the harmonization. Yeah. Samuel Tweah has not been able to put all the figures to tell the Liberian people. During the harmonization, this is the money that was saved, and this is where it's going to go. Yeah. And maybe he put it out there, but I have not seen none of the figures. I have not seen any figures. So this guy just get out. It's still only the power hall from the university. Just go see the crowd and just throw all words, and they say, "Oh yeah, the guy is smart. He knows what he's doing." This finance minister will get the Liberian people. God, this guy is a complete failure, And there's no need. I understand people will all come, we all will take our sides to back whoever we think that they are doing the right thing. But this finance minister from day one, this guy has not presented any plan, physical plan to the Liberian people to tell us this is what will be the country will look at tomorrow. No, he is the minister of planning and finance. So he's in charge of the fiscal policy of Liberia. And he's not presenting anything to people, but people here but come and say, oh, he's smart. This is a dismal feeling answer. Let me just leave it right there. But I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Josh. Mr. Josh, calling from Atlanta, Georgia, where we have our headquarters, focus on Liberia. Let me bring in a partner or a member of this team, Mr. William Thomas Bernard King, joining me from California. The Californian boys always playing with money. We're talking politics here, my man. What you got?
Thank you very much. This is in response to something that the first caller said. And he said that Samuel Tweah doesn't touch the money. Look, I want that caller to go back and look into our Focus on Liberia archive. We had a Saturday Focus on Liberia marketplace with one of the workers from the Central Bank of Liberia.
Right.
And where we talked about the issue where the central bank, although it's supposed to be autonomous based on our culture and our society, it doesn't always function that way. Now, the next thing is this. To that caller, although the technical economic management team of the government, it was headed by the Finance and Development Planning Minister, Samuel D. Tweah Jr., orchestrated the mop-up exercise. Now, I think that we are pretty educated when somebody says orchestrated. That means that they were in charge of that mop-up. So just so somebody that say, oh, the man never walked around taking the money back, no. But he controlled those teams. And that is very, very serious because I'm not going to say anything about it being fraudulent. But what I will say is that you are not using, like what Mr. Sia, you mentioned, you're not using the formal banking system to infuse this money into the system. And so you don't know the business people and everybody that is out there where they are getting the money from. And although they may be doing things right, but what you did for us as Liberia was you hurt our currency because it impacted the credibility of our currency when that was done. And so it is important that even as someone as Samuel Tweah, education is important. So you cannot just say, oh, what we learn in school and so forth is a whole or different things like that, because then he would have known, and he would have known how important it is to not do something like he did with that money, that whole mop-up exercise. And Mr. Sia, what I did was to wrap up, please, because I know there are other callers, is that I sent you where I got this information from. Okay? And something that is important is this, and I leave you with this, and I go about my business.
Okay.
Mr. Tweah told the pit that the TMT chaired by him. Chaired by who? Mr. Samuel Tweah did not use the conventional auction method. Oh God, a minister of finance is not using the conventional method. According to him, the aim of the exercise was to target money in the hand of business people. So these business people couldn't bring the money into the bank? I don't know. Already in the banking system. He said this was the reason his team targeted business people and major forest bureaus. So there you have it. This guy was in charge and he was the leader. And the speaker should not think otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. William Thomas Bernard King there. He is one of our staff member here at Focus on Liberia, and he was speaking about the numbers. Mr. King is the Business and Economic Forum host and also editor of our Business and Economic Forum that we call FOL Marketplace. Folks, I can't thank you enough for staying with me throughout the broadcast. I was able to disclose to you why I know Samuel Tweah to be very wrong, and not only very wrong, but dead wrong on the issues. And I was also able to bring to you what I consider as Tweahconomics, the economics of Samuel Tweah, the way he understands economics, the way he goes about implementing his economic theories, or if you like, policies, and how these have not helped our country. Tweahconomics is bad for Liberia. I did define Tweahconomics. I told you about the different levels of Tweahconomics. Tweahconomics 101, 201, 301, and 401. 401 being the one he talked about making our president a benevolent dictator so that he can be powerful, so that he can be fair, so that he can decide in the money, that take the money from here and let it go this way, and we will not have the opportunity of going through a democratizing decision-making process. Samuel Tweah is telling us that will help Liberia. His borrowing initiative did not help us. His D-hole cover hole did not help us. His begging for money. Our citizens should go and beg the legislators for money. So we should not cut their salary. That other economic policies of Samuel Tweah has failed. And as though a D-hole cover hole, begging for money, don't call legislators salary so that the citizens can go and beg from them, as though those have not failed. Samuel Tweah is telling us about Tweahconomics 401, benevolent dictatorship. Tweah is wrong. He is not only wrong, he is dead wrong. Tweahconomics is bad for Liberia. If only the president understands what is at stake here. If only he has the slightest understanding of the chaos that we have on our hands here. I believe Tweah has something to do with this so-called stimulus package. Our people are yet to receive the rise. $10 million could have been better used. Another Tweahconomics is taking money and buying opposition supporters who are on Facebook bashing the government, buying them out, giving them $200 just to have a meeting with them at a hotel, and giving them money somewhere around 500,000 Liberian dollars. How is that going to help Liberia? That is the Tweahconomics I'm talking about. Tweah is wrong. He is not only wrong, he is dead wrong. And Tweahconomics is a failure for our country. Tweahconomics is bad for Liberia. Is bad for Liberia. Tweahconomics. My name is Anthony C. I brought you the hour of politics today. And today was actually, or is actually, part 2 of why Samuel Tweah is wrong. I have been able to prove with videos, Samuel Tweah's own words, and I am able to provide the necessary analytical input of all he said and the implication thereof. I didn't use my own words. I used Tweah's own words. And this is how it should be. Use their own words to hold them accountable. So if you come here to disagree with me, something that I like, because I know I'm very limited when it comes to economics. Not only economics, a lot of things. I'm far from being better before talking about best. But I have a common sense that is profound. And I can't let these things slide by. While my people languish in abject poverty, and we have a brother who should know better, who should understand where he comes from, who should understand that young people are suffering, are struggling, who promised us that they were going to create jobs, about 1 million jobs according to their PAPD, and he think by going around begging for money would do it, by dishing money out to people. His plan for our healthcare sector is to budget less and spend $150,000 to fly a government official outside of the country. Tweah is wrong. Not only wrong, he's dead wrong. Tweahconomics is a failure. Tweahconomics is bad for Liberia. I will leave it there, folks, and thank you for watching. The song says, we are all Liberians. Even Samuel Tweah is a Liberian, even though he's dead wrong, even though he's dangerous for Liberia, even though his Tweahconomics does not work, he is a Liberian. I went after somebody today to hold him accountable because the decisions, his policies, have consequences on the lives of our people. I did it in style. Some people who are in the opposition, they are happy. I will find somebody in the opposition and I will hold that person accountable. Don't come after me. But hey, when you do, I like it. It doesn't move me. This is the path that I have chosen to hold them accountable on the issue with no insults whatsoever, but responsible and evidentiary talk show hosting. That's why we do here our Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and we promote all things Liberia. On that note, I am Anthony C. saying to you on behalf of the Focus on Liberia crew, enjoy this song, watch it or listen to it for 1 minute, I should say, and tell me thank you later. Bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Either you raise it or we want. Liberia. Either you raise it or we want. Liberia, Liberia.